Good morning, students. This is R.P. Kulkarni here for our first online lecture on Power Engineering course. The teaching and evaluation scheme of the course includes the course code is MEF 401, course abbreviation is FPEG. It has two tests of 20 marks and the term end exam is of 80 marks and the oral, which is external oral, is of 25 marks. Now about the contents of this course. The section 1 includes internal combustion engine and IC engine systems, testing and pollution control. Section 2 includes air compressors, gas turbine and jet propulsion, and refrigeration and air conditioning. So, before going to the details about the contents or the subtopics of each chapter, we'll first list some of the terms and the concepts which we have already learned in thermal engineering or in thermodynamics. So, in thermal engineering or in thermodynamics, we have learned some of the terms which are very important with respect to the power engineering are one of the term is system. We have learned the types of systems such as open system, closed system and isolated system. We know very well the meaning of all these terms: open system, closed system and isolated system. Another term is working substance, isn't it? Then the next term is entropy, enthalpy, or in gas processes we have also learned the constant volume process, constant pressure process, isothermal or constant temperature process, polytropic process and the adiabatic or isentropic processes. All these terms as well as the laws, that is first law of thermodynamics, second law of thermodynamics, etc. we have already learned, as well as we also gone through what is energy, what is heat and what is work. We have also seen that the heat and work are mutually convertible, isn't it? So all these terms play an important role in power engineering. This is because in thermal engineering or in thermodynamics, we have learned about the concepts or the different laws of thermodynamics. And now in power engineering, we are going to learn how to apply these laws for getting some output in terms of useful work, isn't it? So a engine can be called as a system, an open system, isn't it? This is because and whatever the working substance used in the engine, it may be a air or a fuel. It may be the fuel may be in various state. So one of the important term that we have learned in thermodynamics is about the state of the substance, isn't it? So it may be in the state may be solid state, liquid state or gaseous state. So whatever the energy contained by the working substance, this energy is to be extracted from the substance and it is to be converted or transformed into mechanical work or useful work, isn't it? So for that, for getting or extracting the energy, it may be any form of energy, may be a chemical energy contained in the substance is to be extracted, and it is converted into heat energy and then into the mechanical work or useful work. So our first law of thermodynamics states that energy neither be created nor it can be destroyed, but it will be transformed from one form to another form. The same law has to be applied here in engine. So engine is a system. The engine is consisting of an assembly of cylinder and piston in which we provide a fuel like petrol or diesel, and the chemical energy contained in the petrol or diesel is extracted by supplying heat, and along with the oxygen that is contained in the air, we have a chemical reaction between the petrol and the air. Petrol or diesel, these fuels are nothing but the hydrocarbons. They are called as HC. The correct technical name for the petrol and diesel is hydrocarbon. It means that it is a combination of hydrogen and carbon. And when this hydrogen and carbon comes with uh, uh, what we can say comes with uh, oxygen, then they will react with each other, and due to the combustion of the fuel, they will liberate the chemical energy which is converted into heat energy, and then this heat energy is converted into work. So the engine can be defined as an device which transforms one form of energy into another form. Normally, most of the engines convert thermal energy into mechanical work. So it can be called as a heat engine also, or it is a device which transforms the chemical energy of fuel into thermal energy and utilize this thermal energy into useful work. Now, the internal combustion engine can be defined as the device in which combustion of fuel with air takes place inside the engine cylinder. Or internal combustion engine is a heat engine itself, which converts chemical energy in a fuel into mechanical energy. So internal combustion engines are reciprocating engines having piston that reciprocates back and forth in cylinders internally within the engine. So the example of internal combustion engine is petrol engine and diesel engine. Now we'll see the classification of IC engine. IC engines are classified in many ways, such as number 1, according to the fuel used, then according to the number of strokes per cycle, according to thermodynamic cycle or operation cycle, according to method of ignition such as SI engine or CI engine, according to method of cooling, according to mobility of governing, according to speed of engine, according to number of cylinders, according to arrangement of cylinders, according to fuel supply system, and according to location of valves. Now we will see the classification in detail. First classification, IC engines are classified according to the fuel used, such as petrol engine, in which petrol is used as fuel, diesel engine, in which diesel is used as fuel, gas engine, gaseous fuel like CNG, LPG are used as fuel. CNG means compressed natural gas and LPG means liquid petroleum gas. Next classification is IC engines are classified according to number of strokes per cycle, such as 4-stroke engine. In 4-stroke engines, one cycle is completed in 4 strokes of piston or 2 revolutions of crankshaft. In 4-stroke engine, as the one stroke is completed in 180 degrees of crank revolution. So there are 4 strokes in 4-stroke engine, such as suction stroke, compression stroke, expansion stroke and exhaust stroke. So for suction stroke, the suction stroke takes, or the piston moves from top dead center to bottom dead center, and it is for 180 revolutions of crankshaft. Similarly, for compression stroke, again 180 degrees of crankshaft, so that is 360 degrees. So in one revolution, suction and compression, these strokes are completed. Again, for expansion 180 degree and exhaust 180 degree, so another 360. So in this way there are 2 revolutions of crankshaft. In 2-stroke engine, one cycle is completed in 2 strokes of the piston or 1 revolution of crankshaft. So here there are only 2 strokes, compression and expansion. What about suction and the exhaust? That we'll see, we'll explain from the figure. So this is the figure of 2-stroke engine. If we see, here there are no valves, but there are ports, inlet port and exhaust port. You see here the suction and compression, these 2 strokes are completed in one stroke. That is, initially when the piston is at the top dead center. Keep in mind the exhaust port and inlet port opening and closing is done by movement of piston itself, isn't it? So when the piston comes here, now in the figure you will observe that the exhaust port is closed as the piston is coming in front of this port, see here, and the inlet port is open. So in open position of the inlet port, the petrol and air mixture is coming into the crankcase over here. Now when the piston starts moving downward, whatever the charge or whatever the petrol air mixture came into the crankcase, it starts compressing over here. So in this way the compression and suction, these 2 strokes are completed at a time. Now when the piston comes in front of this inlet port, it will get closed, or the inlet port will get closed, isn't it? And the exhaust port gets open. So whatever the products of combustion or the burn gases are present in the cylinder, they will come out of this exhaust port and get released into the atmosphere. At the same time, there is a transfer port over here, isn't it? As soon as the inlet port is closed, the exhaust port and transfer port get open, and that's why as the transfer port gets open, whatever the charge already compressed in the crankcase, it moves over the top of the piston or into the cylinder, isn't it? So due to this compressed or high force charge, it helps in exhausting the burn gases out of the cylinder also, isn't it? So there are only two strokes in two-stroke engine. One is compression and another when the piston comes down from TDC to BDC, there is a expansion. So hope that you will understood how there are only two strokes in two-stroke engine. So that is the difference between four-stroke and two-stroke engine. That is, in four-stroke engine, the cycle is completed in four strokes of the piston or two revolutions of crankshaft, and in two-stroke engine, cycle is completed in two strokes of the piston or one revolution of crankshaft. The next classification is IC engines are classified according to the thermodynamic cycle or operation cycle. So they are also called as power cycles. So there are three types of power cycles known as Otto cycle, diesel cycle and dual cycle. Otto cycle is used for petrol engines, diesel cycle is used for diesel engines, and dual cycle is used for heavy vehicles like bus, trucks, etc. So we'll see one by one what is meant by Otto cycle, diesel cycle and dual cycle. Otto cycle. In Otto cycle, combustion of fuel takes place at constant volume. So this is the PV diagram of the Otto cycle, that is pressure volume diagram, isn't it? So this on y-axis the pressure is taken, on x-axis the volume is taken. So at point 1 the piston is at BDC. BDC means what? Bottom dead center, and TDC means what? Top dead center. These terms are used for extreme positions of the piston when it moves in the cylinder and in a vertical engine, isn't it? We'll see in detail about the terms what is BDC, what is TDC, etc. afterwards. So in Otto cycle, at point 1, complete charge is entered into the cylinder. Charge means what? Air fuel mixture. So from at point 1, so the suction is completed, suction of charge or the air fuel mixture is completed at point 1. During this completion, the piston moves from top dead center to the bottom dead center. As soon as the charge is fully entered into the cylinder, the inlet valve, in case of four-stroke engine, inlet valve is closed. Exhaust valve is already closed. Now from point 1, the compression of the charge starts. Compression means what? The piston again moves from BDC to TDC. So whatever the initially when it comes from TDC to BDC, the volume of cylinder is increased, which is occupied by the air fuel mixture. Now the volume is decreasing when piston moves from 1 to 2, that is when the compression of the charge is taking place. So at point 1, the charge occupied the volume, that is the volume V1, we call it as a volume V1, isn't it, in the cylinder. As soon as the compression starts, the volume go on decreasing, and when the compression is completed, that is at point 2, the compression stroke is completed and the volume at that time is V2, isn't it? On x-axis the volume is V2, isn't it? So in this case, at the end of the compression, the pressure is P2, volume is V2 and temperature is T2. We'll discuss the TS diagram when we'll go for discussing the Otto cycle in detail. Okay, so now after at the end of the compression at point 2, the spark, in case of petrol engine, the spark plug provides spark and heat is added from the point 2 to point 3, that is the heat addition. But at that during this process 1 to 2 to 3, the volume remains constant, that is means V2 is equal to V2, and that is why the Otto cycle is also called as a constant volume cycle. In this cycle, in Otto cycle, at constant volume. We'll go into the details about the expression of efficiency of Otto cycle, how the efficiency is calculated or determined for Otto cycle, and how these strokes are actually performed in the engine cylinder, isn't it? So in compression, one point that is to be mentioned is that process 1 to 2 and 3 to 4 are the compression or reversible adiabatic compression and reversible adiabatic expansion processes. In this case, in during the compression, we get negative work. Negative work means what? We have to supply the work for compressing the gas or charge air-fuel mixture. So in this case, during the compression process, work is done by the system on the working substance. Here systems means what? The piston. Work is done by the piston on the air fuel mixture. So this is negative work. Whereas in case of expansion stroke, that is from 3 to 4, the work is done by the gas on the system, that is by the gas on the piston. So this is the positive work that we are getting over here. So and at point 2 the fuel from the fuel injector is added into the cylinder from point 2 to point 3, isn't it? So it is a constant pressure fuel supply or heat supply. As soon as the fuel supply starts, due to the compressed air, the temperature of air is increased, and this temperature is sufficient to ignite the diesel or the fuel. So as soon as the diesel or the fuel starts entering into the cylinder, it starts burning. So 2 to 3 is the constant pressure heat addition process. Next is process 3 to 4, which is constant, sorry, which is adiabatic, reversible adiabatic expansion process. PV raised to gamma is equal to constant, we can say. So again, in diesel cycle, similar to the Otto cycle, there are two reversible adiabatic processes, one constant pressure process and one constant volume process. That is, the heat rejection is at constant volume in case of diesel cycle. That is, it represents by the line 4 to 1. This is the constant volume heat rejection process. After rejecting the heat, the exhaust gases from 1 to 0, here not shown actually, the burned gases are exhausted into the atmosphere. So this is about Otto cycle and diesel cycle. The third one is dual cycle. In dual cycle, some part of the heat is added at constant volume process and the remaining part at constant pressure process. So we can say that dual cycle is combination of Otto and diesel cycle, as part of heat is added at constant volume process and part of heat is added at constant pressure process. So this is the PV diagram for dual cycle. This 0 to 1 shows the suction of air, and then it is called as intake stroke or suction stroke, isn't it? At point 1, the air is fully occupies the cylinder volume in the engine. At this point, the pressure inside the cylinder and the atmospheric pressure becomes equal and the inlet valve is closed. Exhaust valve is already closed. So both the valves are closed. Now here the piston during intake stroke or suction stroke, the piston starts moving from TDC to BDC. So this is TDC and this is BDC. Now when the piston is at BDC, the compression stroke starts. During compression stroke, the inlet valve and exhaust valve both are in closed position. So the compression starts from point 1 to point 2. The compression of air only, keep in mind. So this compression stroke is the reversible adiabatic process, isn't it? So at point 2, the piston again moves from BDC to TDC, that is from point 1 to point 2. In this case, at the end of the compression, that is at point 2, the heat is added, that is the fuel is added at constant volume, partially at constant volume, heat is added up to point 3. At point 3, again the heat is added up to point 4 partially. So from 2 to 3 at constant volume heat is added, and from 3 to 4 at constant pressure heat is added, isn't it? Now the addition of heat is taking place in two stages, 2 to 3 and 3 to 4. At the end of fuel supply, that is at point 4, the expansion starts. So the expansion starts means what? the piston starts moving again from TDC to BDC. So from 4 to 5, this is the reversible adiabatic expansion process. PV raised to gamma is equal to constant is the expression for adiabatic process. Keep in mind, isn't it? During these processes, entropy remains constant. That is also one of the important point that we have to keep in mind. Now, at the end of the expansion process, again during compression and expansion process, inlet valve and exhaust valve are remain closed, isn't it? At point 5, it means that the piston is at BDC again. So the expansion stroke is completed. At point 5, the exhaust starts or heat rejection starts. So from 5 to 1, here the constant volume process, the heat is rejected. From 1 to again 0, this is the arrow shown, that is the exhaust stroke. All the burned gases are taken out of the cylinder, that is called as exhaust stroke. So in dual cycle, part of the heat is added at constant volume and part of the heat is added at constant pressure. All other processes are same, that is the intake or suction, then reversible adiabatic compression, then reversible adiabatic expansion and the heat rejection, etc. So this is about the classification depending on thermodynamic cycle or operation cycle. Next classification is according to method of ignition. Depending upon the type of ignition, the IC engines are classified as SI engine and CI engine. SI means spark ignition. So spark ignition engine. So it is also called as petrol engine. In this, a mixture of fuel and air is entered in cylinder during suction stroke and spark plug is used to ignite the fuel. In case of CI engine, that is compression ignition engine or diesel engine, fuel is injected into the cylinder using fuel injector at high pressure at the end of compression stroke, and there is no spark plug in case of diesel engine or CI engine. The self ignition of fuel takes place here due to the hot air. We have seen that in diesel engine, while discussing the diesel cycle, we have seen that only air is taken into the cylinder, it is compressed, and then after compression of air we are supplying the fuel, that is diesel. So whatever the during the compression, whatever the temperature increase of the air is there, this temperature is sufficient for igniting the diesel engine. So there is no requirement of spark plug in case of compression or diesel engine or compression ignition engine. This is about the classification based on method of ignition. Next classification is according to the method of cooling. So air cooled engine and water cooled engine. So the IC engines are classified as air cooled engine and water cooled engine. In air cooled engine, the cooling of engine cylinder is done by air and fins are provided on the cylinder, and it is mainly used for light vehicles like scooters, motorcycles, etc. So fins means what? Some of the projections are provided on the engine or the surface of the engine cylinder is increased. This is because the air, as it is to be cooled by air, so the air will move through these fins, and the air will absorb the heat from the cylinder walls of the engine to keep the temperature of the cylinder walls minimum, isn't it? Next is water-cooled engines. The cooling of the engine cylinder is done by circulating water through water jacket by a radiator and water pump. It is mainly used for heavy vehicles like cars, bus, trucks, etc. Isn't it? So this is about the classification depending on method of cooling. Next classification is according to mobility of governing. The fuel supply is to be governed or metered. For that we have to use some governors. So in some engines we have to govern the quantity or meter the quantity, regulate the quantity. In some of the engines we have to go for quality governing, and in some of the engines we have to go for hit and miss type of governing. So in quantity governing, quality of charge is kept constant, but the quantity of charge supplied to engine cylinder is varied by throttle valve, which is regulated by the centrifugal governor. For example, petrol engine. So in case of petrol engine, we use quantity governing, isn't it? Now the quality governing. In this case, a control valve is fitted in the fuel delivery pipe to control the quantity of fuel to be mixed with the air. So quality of charge is regulated by movement of control valve, isn't it? For example, diesel engine. Third is hit and miss governing. In this type of governing, whenever the engine starts running at higher speed due to decreased load, some explosions are omitted or missed. This is done with a centrifugal governor. Example of hit and miss governing engines is IC engines of small capacity or gas turbines. Next classification is according to speed of engine. IC engines are also classified depending upon the speed of the engine, such as low speed engine, medium speed engine, and high speed engine. The crankshaft speed, if it is less than 100 rpm, then it is called as low speed engine. If the crankshaft speed of the engine is between 100 to 250 rpm, then it is called as medium speed engine. For example, ship propulsion engine. And high speed engine, in high speed engines, crankshaft speed of the engine is more than 250 rpm. For example, petrol engine. Next classification is according to number of cylinders. So an IC engine may be having one cylinder or more than one cylinders. So if it is having one cylinder, it is called as a single cylinder engine. And the power developed in power stroke is used for functioning of other strokes of the engine. Power stroke means what? The expansion stroke. So power developed in expansion stroke is used for functioning of the other strokes like compression, suction or exhaust, isn't it? So some of the power in case of single cylinder engine, some of the power that is developed by the engine is used for functioning of the compression, suction and exhaust stroke, isn't it? In multi-cylinder engines, there are more than one cylinder, and in multi-cylinder engines, as per the firing order, power is generated in the respective cylinder. For example, if the cylinder is 4-cylinder engine, then the firing order is 1-3-4-2. It means that the power generated first in first cylinder, then in third cylinder, then in fourth cylinder, and then in second cylinder, isn't it? In this way, this is called as a firing order 1342, isn't it? And accordingly, the power is generated into the respective cylinders, isn't it? So this is about the classification depending upon number of cylinders: single cylinder engine, multi-cylinder engine. Next classification is according to arrangement of cylinders. So cylinders can be arranged in various ways in the engine. For example, horizontal engine. In horizontal engine, the position of piston and cylinder is in horizontal plane. In case of vertical engine, the position of piston and cylinder is in vertical plane. In V-type engine, arrangement of cylinders are in V shape. In inline engine, all cylinders are inline. Inline means what? A vertical cylinder, 4-cylinder engine is having in vertical position, or a vertical 4-cylinder engine is there. Then all the cylinders are inline, and that are called as an inline engine. Radial engine. All cylinders are in radial direction. Next classification is about opposed piston engine, isn't it? In case of arrangement of cylinders, opposed pistons engine. So there is only one cylinder, but two pistons in opposite direction are reciprocating in opposite directions, isn't it? That is called an opposed piston engine. Opposed cylinder engine. In these cylinders are in opposite directions, or in opposite, that is to each other at 180 degrees, isn't it? That is, in opposed cylinder engine, the cylinders are opposite to each other at 180 degrees. Next classification is according to fuel of supply system. Now, in case of petrol engine, the supply system is somewhat different, or supply mechanism is somewhat different than in diesel engine, isn't it? So, in case of petrol engines, carbureted, they are also called as carbureted engines. The fuel supply system is used, that is called as a carburetor and a venturi meter, etc. So the air or fuel mixture meets in the carburetor system, and the mixture is then supplied to each cylinder through intakes. Next is airless injection. In this, fuel under high pressure is directly injected into the combustion chamber of the cylinder. Next classification is air injection. This fuel supply system is used in large stationary and marine engines. In this, first air is compressed by a compressor at high pressure, then a blast of air is injected into the cylinder along with the fuel. Next classification is according to location of valves: overhead valve engine and side valve engine. So the position of valve or location of valve, the valves are located in the cylinder head above the combustion chamber in case of overhead valve engine. In side valve engine, valves are located within engine block instead of in the engine cylinder head, isn't it? So this is about the classification of IC engines. Next, we will see about the components of IC engine. Important components of IC engine. The engine comprises various parts so that the various functions of the IC engine are performed by these parts. So the first important part is cylinder. Cylinder is heart of the engine in which fuel is burnt and power is developed. Cylinder has to withstand very high pressure and temperatures as the combustion of fuel is carried out within the cylinder. So very high pressure and temperatures are generated during the combustion of fuel in the cylinder, and so it has to withstand this pressure and temperature. So cylinder of engine may be air cooled or water cooled to avoid the sticking of piston and cylinder due to high pressure and temperature. The material used for manufacturing the cylinders are high grade cast iron or alloy steels. Sometimes aluminum alloy is also used where weight is consideration as in aeroplanes and automobiles. So if you manufacture the cylinder with aluminum alloy instead of high grade cast iron or alloy steels, the weight of that engine will be considerably reduced. Next part is the cylinder head. It is upper part of the cylinder. Its function is to seal top end of the cylinder. Cylinder head provides space for valve mechanism, spark plug, fuel injector, etc. Cylinder head is made up of cast iron or aluminum. Third part is piston and piston rings. Function of piston is to transmit the gas force to connecting rod, hence to the crank. It slides inside the cylinder. The piston has a reciprocating motion inside the cylinder. Piston is made up of cast steel or aluminum steel. Piston rings. They are provided on piston in the slots provided. Function of piston rings is to prevent the leakage of gas to the crankcase and also to lubricate the cylinder valves and piston. There are 3 rings provided in the slots of the piston. Minimum 3 rings are used. Upper rings are called compression rings. Lower piston rings are oiling rings having oil groove with lots of holes. Piston rings are made of cast steel. Next part is gudgeon pin or piston pin. Function of gudgeon pin is to connect small end of connecting rod and piston. Gudgeon pin is made up of hardened steel by forging process. Next part is connecting rod. The small end is connected to the piston. Small end of the connecting rod is connected to piston through gudgeon pin and big end to the crank through crank pin. Its function, connecting rod function, is to transmit the piston load, that is gas force, to the crank. Connecting rod converts the reciprocating motion of piston into rotary motion of the crankshaft. Connecting rods are made of nickel or chromium or vanadium steels by forging process. Next part is crank and crankshaft. Crank is integral part of the crankshaft. It rotates about axis of crankshaft and causes the connecting rod to oscillate. It carries the flywheel to get uniform torque. Crank and crankshaft are steel forged and machined to smooth finish. Next part is engine bearing. Crankshaft is supported in main bearing which is lubricated. Function of bearing is to facilitate smooth motion to crankshaft by reducing friction. Next part is crankcase. It is a cover provided on crankshaft and main bearing. Inside crankcase, lubrication oil is provided in oil sump. Next part is flywheel. It is heavy rotating mass. It is attached to crankshaft outside the crankcase. Function of flywheel is to minimize the cyclic variation in speed by storing the energy during power stroke, and same energy is released during other stroke, isn't it? So to carry out other strokes like compression, suction and exhaust, we require some energy. So this energy which is generated during power stroke is stored by flywheel, and this energy is utilized to complete the other strokes. Flywheel is made up of cast steel or cast iron. Next part is valve and valve mechanism. The IC engine has two valves, namely suction valve and exhaust valve. These valves are operated by cam mounted on camshaft. The camshaft rotates at half the speed of the crankshaft in 4-stroke engine with the help of timing gear having tooth ratio of 1:2. Next is spark plug. Function of spark plug is to provide high intensity spark for combustion of fuel and air in the cylinder in spark ignition engine. Next is carburetor. Function of carburetor is to prepare the mixture of fuel and air and regulate or meter it before sending to injection system of the engine. Next part is fuel injection pump. Function of fuel injection pump is to inject the atomized fuel to the engine cylinder under very high pressure in case of compression ignition engine. Fuel injection pump or injector is not required in petrol engines. This is because air fuel mixture itself is admitted into the cylinder. That is not the case in case of diesel engine. In case of diesel engine, only air is admitted first, and then after compression, at the end of the compression, fuel is injected. So in case of petrol engine, a carburetor system is provided for injecting the petrol into the cylinder by atomizing the petrol. In case of diesel engine, we require fuel injection pump and an injector or a nozzle for injecting the diesel at the end of the compression. Now we will see about the various terms of IC engine. That is the terminology of IC engine. So if you see, there are various terms like clearance volume, stroke, top dead center, that is TDC, bottom dead center, that is BDC, and bore. We'll explain one by one each term of the IC engine. First term is bore. Bore is the inner diameter of the engine cylinder. This diameter is generally denoted by letter capital D. Next term is stroke length. It is the linear distance. Stroke length is the linear distance traveled by the piston from one dead center to another dead center. What it means? See the figure. This is the bottom dead center and this is the top dead center. So the piston moves from bottom dead to top dead and top dead to bottom dead. So from one dead center to another dead center, this is the linear distance that is traveled by the piston, and that is called as stroke, isn't it? The stroke length is equal to twice the radius of the crank. It is denoted by letter capital L. Next is dead centers. Top dead center. In case of vertical engine, topmost position of the piston is called top dead center. So this is the topmost position of the piston, that is top dead center. When the piston is at, this is dotted, in the dotted lines the piston is shown. So this is bottom dead position of the piston, isn't it? This is top dead center position, this is bottom dead center position of the piston. So the piston will move only these two extreme positions, bottom dead to top dead or top dead to bottom dead, isn't it? So the linear distance traveled by the piston from bottom dead to top dead or from top dead to bottom dead is called as stroke, isn't it? Next is bottom dead center. Bottommost position of the piston is called as bottom dead center. Next term is clearance volume. The volume contained in the cylinder above the top of the piston when piston is at TDC is called clearance volume. So volume contained in the cylinder above the top of the piston when piston is at TDC is called clearance volume. So in the figure it is shown, this is the clearance volume. Volume contained at the top of the piston when the piston is at top dead center is called clearance volume, isn't it? So this is the clearance volume and it is denoted by letter VC, isn't it? Suffix C. Next term is swept volume or stroke volume. Swept volume is the volume displaced by the piston in one stroke is called as swept volume. It is denoted by Vs. So keep in mind that the volume displaced by piston in one stroke is called swept volume. It means that if the piston moves from bottom dead center to top dead center, whatever the volume is swept, it is called as swept volume. Or when the piston moves from top dead center to bottom dead center. Whatever the volume is swept by the piston or covered by the piston, it is called as swept volume. Very important term, because the expression for swept volume is equal to pi by 4 into d square into L, where this pi by 4 into d square is nothing but the cross-sectional area of the cylinder. So A into L, where L is the stroke length, D is the bore diameter, isn't it? So pi by 4 into d square is nothing but the cross-sectional area of the cylinder into the stroke length. This is nothing but the expression for swept volume. Now next is compression ratio. The ratio of total cylinder volume to clearance volume is known as compression ratio. What is meant by total cylinder volume? It is the swept volume. Swept volume means what? The volume swept by the piston in one stroke plus this clearance volume. This total is the total volume. Swept volume plus clearance volume is the total volume, isn't it? Now, the compression ratio is the ratio of total cylinder volume to clearance volume is known as compression ratio, and it is denoted by R. So the total cylinder volume means what? Swept volume plus clearance volume, that is Vs plus Vc, and to the clearance volume. So Vs plus Vc is the total volume divided by clearance volume, that is Vc. So Vs plus Vc divided by Vc is nothing but the compression ratio. So R is equal to Vs plus Vs divided by Vc, where Vc plus Vs is total volume of cylinder. Next term is piston speed. It is the average speed of piston. It is generally denoted by V suffix P. So V suffix P is equal to 2 times L into N, where L is the length of the stroke and N is the engine RPM. Piston speed is measured in meters per minute. Okay, so this is about the classification of IC engine, important parts of the IC engine, and various terms of IC engine or the terminology of IC engine. In the next lecture, we'll discuss about the power cycles such as Otto cycle, diesel cycle, and dual cycle, the operation of the 3 cycles, and the expression derivation for expression of efficiency of Otto cycle and their working. Okay, so thank you very much.